know you have a favorite story, something that sticks with you and revolves around your head. Be it film, book, poetry, or comic, something in it has made you fascinated with the world in a way you weren't before. For me, the best parts of these stories is sometimes not even the story itself, but the community that forms around it, aka fandom. For better or for worse, you know fandoms. People create art that amplifies or even transcends the original work. People create fics that make you obsess over characters you barely cared about in the original series. And people create discussions for this series, spaces where everyone can connect. For context, I was kind of isolated as a kid. I wasn't allowed to go outside, I wasn't signed up for many clubs or really any. And so, the internet became a third space for me, where connection could foster. But hey, parents, please monitor your kids' internet usage and facilitate them going into the outside world. It saves them a lot of trauma, I promise. But I digress. Within these third spaces where I'd meet people my age, the art community thrived on connection. Not just over existing fandoms, but through creating fandoms over different artists and their original characters, aka OCs, art trades, fan works, role plays. Does anyone remember Instagram art clubs where you created your own character to join a role play in the site? Oh my god. Oh, that was the high life, okay? I cried and cheered over whether I got into an Instagram art club. My mother was worried and confused, and because of the way people cherish other people's creations, I started creating my own. Silly little characters whose worlds and personalities kept growing and growing. Thus, in one of the weird ways of the world, I had become a fan of my own OCs, which makes sense. If you're gonna make your own guys, you'd hope you'd want to obsess over them. Anyways, to me, it is one of the greatest joys to treat your OCs like you're rabid fans of them, starving for content. Because I am, okay? I am rabid. I am frothing at the mouth whenever I'm away from drawing and my little utensils to create my little creations and I can't plan out their lives. Every character archetype and story element I've ever wanted to see can be stuffed into my dudes. Alright? I create little animations and stickers of them and no one can stop me. It's the high of making something you love and getting to add to it each day, a bloom that flourishes and flowers, giving a never-ending stream of inspiration and motivation towards your dreams. Of course, the downside to this process is the same as the upside. You are the person making this thing. You want something very specific drawn, or comicked, or merchandised? Guess who's gotta put in the effort? Is that dude. No, look at me, it's you. You made this, you have to live with the consequences of making something. There are 1,500 people outside your door, you gotta feed them. 1,500 people, oh my god. Why are you all outside? In all unseriousness, my favorite parts of fandom come from the shared thrill of finding something you love and sending full-on essays to each other or drawing another person's fave, especially fictional pairings. Controversial as, I don't know, wanting two fake people to kiss is. Even as a person on the Arrow Ace spectrum, I have always been invested in fictional couples. This is because character dynamics really make or break a piece of media for me. If it isn't fun or intriguing to watch, then it just becomes way too much of a slog for my sanity to digest. Couples, even just really well done enemies, rivals, friendships, their dynamics I truly admire because I sometimes struggle to create ones that I like outside of the characters I already have. So, in an effort to make other people invested in my OCs just as much as I am, I think I think I've indoctrinated my friends into a cult. A cult of non-epic proportions, but a cult nonetheless. It's the consequences of my actions, honestly. I've been flavor blasting the people I care about with comics, stickers, animations, lore documents of my favorite couple characters smooching for like half a decade. Now, whenever we spend our time together discussing something completely unrelated, one of my friends will just randomly interject about how they love happy endings in fiction. And that all my characters will get a happy ending. Right? Right? Who knows? Not me. Eberethia, how do you pronounce that name? Who is that character? Who knows? Sometimes friends will send even like reaction images and memes and like just heavily thirst over my couples. What is this? Oh, it's so funny. It's great. It's really great. It's this weirdly warm feeling. It just makes me really warm that through all the struggle of making something, I have cultivated the very thing I sought out when I first delved into fandom. Connection. Of course, some part of my brain is aware of all the negatives this can bring. To make and share something is to become open to critique, to your own biases that have shaped your story. It also includes the risk that, if a fandom gets big enough, there will be some toxicity. Just as much as a shared interest can bring people together, it can also very much tear people apart. I would know, with my niche-ass pairings in giant fandoms. Look, me and my two buddies who like this couple just want to live. I promise, even when I see a pairing I don't like and the artists are just like chilling, I can't help but just be like, hey, nice, glad you get to enjoy something and that brings you fun. If I see y'all fighting over fictional characters macking lips again, I swear to... Even so, I think learning your biases and changing a story to make it less hurtful isn't a bad thing, or even just gaining the knowledge so you can make your next story a little kinder, or the next arc of that same tale. We grew up in households and systems shaped by positive and heavily painful history both. To cut one side out is to ignore what we can do now to make our current lives more equitable. And even if there are people who go out of their way to shame others over two fictional guys kissing, I have also seen just how powerful and protective fangirling together over a fictional couple feels. Fangirling in general, it's just a vibe, man. The benefits of geeking out over your own characters, laughing and being super giddy over how others are just as into your story as you are. Even the emotional benefit of stuffing your life experiences and the representation you rarely see into characters, there's a joy in that. I don't know how many people really discuss the emotional benefits of making fictional worlds, but for me, it is an outlet unlike anything else. Every emotionally horrific or joyous experience gets recontextualized and processed when I put them into my worlds. Like how I, even now, still struggle to find a place in the world where I belong. Mostly because I have roots in multiple cultures, and yet cannot fully blend in any of them for a variety of reasons. Or how my dream is to get paid in creating stories while traveling the world and advocating for better systems. Amy and Callum, my main two, both embody this by being immigrants to the countries they reside in, continually traveling and attempting to better the world while struggling to find their place in it. Roheen and her sleep paralysis angel in Reliquary embodied this in like the opposite way. They are confined to a space they can't escape on their own, and while they are technically around their peers, their lives are under the thumb of systems that aim to hurt and marginalize them, to make them feel smaller so that they are easier to use. The countless animations, comics, real-life tactile things I've made, I think it helps me connect to our current circumstances in a way I wouldn't be able to if I didn't make things. It helps me reach out in a way I wouldn't be able to if I didn't have this outlet. If I didn't treat my world as if I was running a fandom town, population 1 artist who does not stop drawing. I'm happy to envelop a world in my hands, and I'm even more happy that I get to share it. Thank you all, and my lovely patrons who got to watch all this stuff early and extra content that is exclusive to them. Whoa, rad. And thank you for watching. I think I already said that. I don't know if I said that. Anyways, I appreciate it. Okay, cool. If you have any more insights, feel free to ramble about them. I just love reading people's rambles. It's my favorite thing. Anyways, cool. Bye.